and welcome to Succeed, and welcome to University of Leicester. Really glad to see there's a few more people here. This is Succeed at Leicester, and it's a series of sessions to try and prepare you from starting your course, to help you gain some confidence and with things that might be new or unknown. So today we're joined by Ian from the Students' Union and we're also joined by Liv, who is a student that studies here. And together we're going to try and explain a bit to you about peer mentoring scheme and some experiences of getting peer support. So I'm just going to kick off and pass it over to Ian, if that's great, and I'll let you carry on. And
So hi, my name's Ian. I'm the support and representation manager of the Student Union. So one of the things that I do is oversee the peer mentoring scheme and work alongside my colleagues Aisha and Millie, who kind of help to deliver the scheme. Go on, click to the next slide.
Yep.
And the next one. So the overall structure of the scheme is that we basically, from January onwards, we look to recruit mentors who are current students here at Leicester and who will be going into their second and third years. So who have been students who have been in your shoes just a year or 2 years previously. And so we'll be able to provide you with kind of advice and guidance and tips to help you settle in at Leicester. We also have some lead mentors who we appoint each year who help us oversee the scheme, help us with the admin, the promotion of the scheme, some of the things we do on social media, study skills as we move forward. They've done TED Talks in the past, and they're all supported by the staff team. So myself, Aisha, and Millie, who kind of oversee the scheme. It's also a partnership scheme, I should say. So it's run in conjunction with the university and the Students' Union. We run the scheme together. The university helps us enormously in terms of the recruitment phase, in terms of helping us get messages out to students and helping us recruit mentors through the year. Click on. Cool. So all first year students will be matched with a peer mentor in the same school or department. Contact is via email. So the scheme, I say it'll be all unless a student opts out of the system, chooses to not have a mentor, you will get a mentor. Now, as I said, it's set up to help all first years settle into university life through peer-to-peer support. And the lead mentors I mentioned before act as a point of contact within the schools, and sometimes we'll do kind of locally based events to kind of touch base with the mentors and just help kind of those contacts come through. I said the main way that they do this is that they send you a number of emails throughout the first term, providing general hints and tips on things like where are the best places to go shopping, where are the best places to go socialising, where do you do this, what's different about the exams or where courses are structured, and basically what is it like being a first year student, and is a source of contact. So as well as those emails, you can always directly contact your mentor for any issues you might be dealing with. So kind of that ad hoc contact is always possible via email, and the kind of mentors have received training and support to kind of help you in answering those questions, and also crucially to signpost you to the right place to gain the right help. Next slide. So if you just click through this. So peer mentors can help with a whole range of issues, but really they're there to be a friendly person to talk to. They're here to welcome you to Leicester. They're here to give you revision tips, to help you think about how you might get involved with different aspects of the university, whether that's student groups, whether that's volunteering, whether that's just meeting up with fellow students from your course. I said structure the course, how that works, where they will refer you, and where kind of we say that we ask them to refer you on to the relevant support services, things like if you've got mitigating circumstances or accommodation queries, immigration, careers, changing course, those sorts of things. All the ones in yellow on the slide are things where your mentor would refer you on to the relevant support service at the university, because the university and the student union has lots and lots of support services available for students, and kind of mentors are there to help you kind of navigate that a little bit. And if you're not sure where to go, that you can ask them about where you should be going with different queries. But they're clearly not going to be trained in mental health or immigration advice or careers. We have experts that are here to help you with those sorts of things. So what emails will you get? So initially you'll get a welcome to the university email. They'll talk about who they are, a bit about themselves, their background. They'll also talk about those hints and tips and a bit more about the city of Leicester. Your second email will talk about some of the ways that you can get involved and support the university. It will talk about societies linked to support services. It will have another offer to meet up. We'll talk about Meet Your Mentor in a little bit. And email 3 is roughly around about kind of late November, early December. So when you might be starting to think about the first set of exams in January. And so they'll kind of give you exam or study tips, or if you're coming up to assignment submission time, if you don't have exams at Christmas, they'll kind of provide you their experiences and what worked for them and kind of what they would recommend. And then the fourth email is January, is a kind of check-in and farewell, and kind of what to expect moving forward. But they will also offer nearly all the time that if you've got questions as you go forward, that they're still on hand to answer those questions throughout. They just won't be formal kind of touch points in terms of the emails. So we've had lots of examples in the past where mentees and mentors have been in touch throughout the first year, and occasionally kind of further down the line than that. So you can contact them at any time. That is absolutely fine. And then we do a number of other things. So you'll hear something very similar we're doing some induction talks during the first week of term. These will appear in your timetable and are going to be jointly delivered with our academic representation team. So we'll talk through academic representation and peer mentoring, and will be delivered by our lead mentors and our college reps, who will talk through kind of how it works, but we'll also talk through again their story as a student, about their experiences, about kind of looking back what they would recommend themselves would have done a year ago. And so you can hear from students about kind of what has worked from them. And there'll be some interactive activities. We'll encourage you to talk to kind of people around you, and we'll give time for that, and we'll give time for questions as well, through kind of top out with you can post questions anonymously, so you can ask anything at all, and then the lead mentors or the college reps or the staff in the room will try and answer those within those sessions. So that kind of once you get here, if you think of any questions, there'll be an opportunity in that first week to do that. And then we'll also do Meet Your Mentor events in week 2 and 3 of term. So these are events where we provide tea, coffee and biscuits, and it's just an informal way for you to meet your mentor in person, and another opportunity for you to kind of meet other mentees who are in kind of the same group, because mentors will generally have more than one mentee. So you get a chance to meet a few other people within that session as well. And your mentor will email you with details of when and where that will take place. So we really want to give you lots of opportunities to engage with your mentor, and just to be able to ask any questions that you may have. And then some feedback. So we've been running the peer mentoring scheme for several years now, and overall the feedback from the scheme is very positive. And so this is just a little excerpt. The next few slides just comment on what some people have said. And it's a great opportunity to meet new people, learn things about Leicester Uni. If you're unsure about what to expect for uni, it's useful to ask questions and get some advice. Sometimes some questions you don't feel that you might want to ask a personal tutor or a member of staff, or put your hand up in the big lecture theatre to ask that question. Your mentor is kind of can be that person who maybe you're not sure who to ask, or maybe you think your question is too little or too minor sort of thing to ask a lecturer about, ask your mentor about, and that they can help with that. And then the last one is a student who became a mentor who wished that they made the most of support in the first year. So what we find is sometimes that people are quite nervous to reply to emails or to ask. We just encourage you to do so, because basically you get the more out your mentor, the more you utilize them. But even if you just read the emails and take those on board, that's absolutely fine, and hopefully you'll get something from it through there. Next slide. So just before I hand over to Liv, just to say, you might have already received an email from the university asking you to sign up to become a mentor. The way that works is that we ask is that if you complete the form that was included with that email, it asks you to fill in kind of what course you're doing, what your interests are, how you self-identify. And if you do that, the mentors have also filled in the similar form, including there's a free text box to put anything specific in. And we'll match those in the week commencing the 16th of September. And we'll try and it matches on interests as well as subject, as well as how people self-identify. So, and we also look at the free text fields as well. So we kind of, that matching is done on a broader range of topics. For everyone else who doesn't submit that form, once you've registered with the university, we then allocate a mentor. So towards the end of week 1, we'll allocate a mentor, and that will be based on kind of what subject you're studying, and you'll always have a mentor from the same school as what you're studying in. Ooh, so I'll hand over to Liv to talk about your experiences.
Cool. Hi everyone. My name's Liv. I am an ambassador at the university, which is basically a student that works part of the time for the university. I study medicine, and I'm in my 6th and thankfully final year of university. I've loved it, but 6 years is quite a long time. So I didn't take part in the peer mentoring scheme, but I'm going to reflect a little bit on why I think it's really useful to take part in and what I think you can learn from it. I want to just start with the fact that when I started, I don't actually know if the scheme was up or running, whether because I was a medic, I didn't hear too much about it, but we had a similar thing where we had kind of medic parents. So essentially this sounds exactly the same. You get allocated a couple of people that pair up to kind of help you through the first few months. Again, we'll ask questions about kind of similarities and differences. And actually for me, that was really helpful, because in that first kind of few weeks, you kind of have someone that you can reach out to in the year above, have people that have just gone through it before. So if you're worried about kind of, go into that first lecture, or you're worried about maybe just how do you look after yourself at uni, because suddenly you have to do a lot of things for yourself. Maybe you're not sure about kind of what to do for resources, revision, when to start thinking about those things. And these guys are going to be so helpful, because you can ask them pretty much anything. And it's just nice to come when you might feel a little bit anxious, to have somebody that has gone through everything before. So I would really kind of reach out to any kind of peer mentoring support you get. It just helps essentially just to build like relationships early on, and it's nice to have a support network so that you're not alone as well, because uni can be challenging when you first get there, so it's really good to have somebody that you can talk to that's been through it as well. In terms of kind of reflecting on support I've had from my peers, so mentors to me, obviously I had the couple of girls that were my kind of mentors when I first got here, but the whole way through my training to become a doctor, I've had various people, friends, professional colleagues as well, that kind of act as mentors. So this role of being a kind of mentor and being a mentee is going to follow through the whole way through life. It's not just relevant to university. I've kind of had people, friends now that are peers that are now doctors, because they got through the course a little bit faster than me, who I still rely on, and actually those guys can give me guidance as well. So having somebody there is going to be indefinitely helpful. I think it's really useful as well to kind of like if you get kind of a peer mentor or you decide that you want to be a mentor yourself, just putting aside time and building on those skills. You don't even have to do that with kind of just purely through the scheme, because for example in my course we have exams that are very practical based, so we'll do a lot of the practice together and we'll feed back to each other as well. So again, that's kind of using a similar skill where you're supporting your peers just generally around you, because it's just mainly to kind of try and make sure everyone does like as best as they possibly can. I think as well in terms of having an opportunity to get involved in like being a peer mentor, actually if it's kind of done officially as well, that looks really good kind of for your career development as well, which is kind of an aside that we haven't really touched on. But it is also really rewarding to help other people. So maybe once you get a little bit further down in your journey, that might be something where you think, no, actually I had a lot of benefit from my mentor and I'd really like to give back. And I think that's a massive thing that you can definitely do, either if you do it officially for a scheme like this or you do it unofficially and kind of how you just go through university and what you study. And I think as you progress through your time at university, you are going to naturally become better at being able to give advice about like exams and advice about university life, advice about how to manage your time, how to revise and everything like that. So actually, yeah, it might be that you have like hopefully you have a really positive experience on the scheme, and then you decide actually it'd be something I like to officially give back and do. So I think overall it's a really beneficial thing to kind of get involved in from both sides.
Thank you. That was great. And maybe just to say that as well, as you said, the medical scheme is very similar, and so kind of medicine students do have their own scheme set up, which is very similar to what we do here, but it's still that kind of the peer mentoring scheme is pretty much across the university apart from medicine students. So medicine students, but that's because medical school have got their own system in place, which kind of works very well. So it just we've always said, well, that's absolutely fine, it works, so we're not going to try and change something that is working quite well. But also reflecting on what you said, yes, clearly everyone who becomes a mentor has been a mentee, but the stories that we hear about people who do sign up to become mentors is that because they've had a good experience with their mentor, they then choose to become a mentor themselves. That's a story that we hear quite a lot. And also we provide, if you do choose to be a mentor, we obviously provide all the training support. We give accreditation to recognise what you've done at the end of the year, to say thank you for the work that you've done and the work that you've put in during that term. Okay. So I've already kind of covered this bit. But that's the link to apply. I said, hopefully you've already got an email to say that is the link, but the link is in the presentation. Simply click that link, it'll take you straight through to the sign up form, and it takes probably about 3 minutes to complete, and that's probably a kind of a very good estimate how long it takes to complete the form. So it doesn't take very long to request one. And just repeat, you won't get a mentor straight away. That'll be done in the week commencing the 16th of September. But so far we've got a good number of students who've kind of completed that. But if you haven't already, I'd encourage you to do that, because that means we do match on more criteria than just your department. So I think just to finish, and just because this always seems to be something in terms of peer mentoring we like to do, we like to give some facts about Leicester. So these are just 4 or 5 brief kind of facts about Leicester as a city. Obviously we could have picked a whole raft of things that Leicester's famous for, but I think there's about 4 facts coming up. So number 1 is, wait for it. So Leicester's one of the oldest cities in the UK. The history goes back at least 2,000 years. So that's fact number 1. Fact number 2, Leicester hosts the largest Diwali celebration outside of India, and that happens from usually October onwards. So we've got big celebrations that happen. And obviously, as students, you are incredibly welcome to get involved with those. It's very much a great events that they put on. Leicester Tigers, which are the rugby club, are still the most successful English rugby club since the introduction of the league. They've won the league title 11 times. Their ground is just down the road next to the football ground. And sometimes they do special offers for students in terms of tickets. So keep an eye out for those in the new year, if that's something you're interested in. And finally, arguably the most famous band in the history of music, the Beatles, have come to Leicester not once, not twice, but 3 times. The band played the Montfort Hall twice in 1963 and once in 1964. So those are just, don't think there's any more. There's one more. Apparently, I'm not sure how true this is, but that the English language we used to, they actually originated in Leicester. It's thought that after warring Anglo-Saxons and Vikings set aside the differences, the 2 communities started sharing their trades and languages and helped to shape modern standard English. So those are just 5 little stats. That's the link as well. If you've got any queries as well, email peermentoring@leicester.ac.uk, and we will always get back to you as soon as we possibly can. So any queries, if you find your course isn't on the form, for example, email us and we will add it into the list of courses. So any problems at all, do get in touch with us at peermentoring@leicester.ac.uk. Other than that, thank you very much for taking time to listen in. And then my colleagues, and an unashamedly plug for later in the week, that there's a session on the student union letter this week where the executive officers will talk you through the student union and the services that we offer and the ways that you can get involved, and encourage you to think about going along to that one later in the week. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to you, Ian, and to Liv. I'm just going to pause recording there.